Daz friends, this is Not From This World, and I want to welcome you back to my Daz tutorial series. Now today I want to talk about layers and using GeoShell layering to add a lot more details to your character. Now there are many products that you can get that involve GeoShells. And what they do, if you aren't familiar with this, is they add a layer of texture, basically, to your character. And so what we get is just these thin layers over the character. And as you build more and more GeoShells, you get more and more layers. Now, this is really cool because it adds a lot of detail to our characters because we can add things like dirt, tears, more detailed body parts, extensions of body parts. So it's really cool. But it also can be very frustrating. So I want to show you a couple of tricks that will get your GeoLayer experience more enjoyable. So to start off with, I've got Milica here, and we're going to add a bunch of GeoShells to her. And I have gotten a lot of comments about this because people get frustrated. They're like, I can't add more than 2 because of the texturing and things. Well, I'm going to show you a trick that's going to fix any of those issues for you. So the first thing that we're going to add is we're going to add our Golden Palace to Milica. And Golden Palace, of course, is our genitals, and so I'm going to just add Golden Palace. Golden Palace has a GeoShell, so it is an add-on to the character, but it also comes with textures that is this layering GeoShell. So with Milica selected, I'm just going to load her Golden Palace. Now you can see right here that there's no GeoShell layer, and so you see kind of this gray area where I just loaded it, and then I'll add the shell, and then I copy the mats so that Milica's mats of her body will go onto the GeoShell. So we'll do that mat copy, and voila, we've got it done. So no big deal there. If you're just adding one GeoShell, then you're finished. That would be it. But let's add something else. So we're going to add some tiers. And I have tiers right here. They're called realistic tiers for Genesis. I believe I got these from the Daz Studio store. But we're going to just hit this apply GeoShell tiers. And then we have a choice of changing them. So with Milica selected again, I'm just going to hit this GeoShell. And it's going to add tears to her face. Now, if you notice, when it added tears to her face, it messed up the Golden Palace GeoShell. So there's a conflict here between the tears and the GeoShell for Golden Palace. Now, in a lot of cases, we can go back up to our Golden Palace, and you'll notice it has this tab here that says Shell Fix. So what you can do is you can scroll down, find the Golden Palace shell, hold Control, find the GeoShell for the tiers, select both of them, and then hit this Shell Fix. If you notice, this is what gets really frustrating to a lot of Daz users, is this did nothing. It did not fix our GeoShell problem. So, if that's the case, you can try and flip which one you select first. So, I selected the Golden Palace first. Now I'm going to select the tiers and then the Golden Palace shell. And we can go back up to Shell Fix and try and fix it. But you're going to notice it's not doing any good. And I admit this was very frustrating for me as well. I ended up doing some crazy things like rendering 2 pictures, one with the tiers and then one with the tier hidden, and then I would splice them together in GIMP and do that kind of crazy stuff until I learned this trick. So there is an easy fix to this problem when your shell fix doesn't work. Now, what happened is we added the tiers and it messed up our Golden Palace. So if we select the tiers GeoShell And then under parameters, we just click on shell and go down to surfaces. We are going to get a list of objects that are affected by the tiers GeoShell. Essentially, it's every part of Milica's body. And so you can see it's her arms, cornea, ears, eye moisture, so on. But if we scroll down, the Golden Palace GeoShells are listed as being affected by our tiers GeoShell. All we have to do to fix this problem is to go in and just turn off the Golden Palace list on the tiers GeoShell. And boom, see, look, we've got that problem fixed. Now, what's super cool is with this knowledge, we can now select Milica and add as many GeoShells as we want to. So let's find another one. So I have another product here that I've made a tutorial about actually a while ago, and that is the Lickalicious. This is a tongue that you can add to your character to make your tongue more articulate, we could put it that way. And so with Milica selected, I'm just going to load up the Lickalicious tongue, and I'm going to add the mat, and it says that everything's copied. But if we look, see, if I zoom in, we now have a problem with the Lickalicious tongue. You can see that if we open up Milica's mouth a little bit more here, the tongue has no texture. So we've got a conflict again with the GeoShell of now the Lickalicious tongue and perhaps the tiers and the Golden Palace. So as I get her back in position, you can see that her mouth is white. There's no texture in there. So I'm going to have to do the same thing that I just did. I can click on the tiers and I can click under shell and go to surfaces and then look for that Lickalicious tongue. And you can see it's right here and they're both turned on. So there is a Lickalicious root blend that I'm going to turn off, and then the tongue I'm going to turn off. All right, now that partially fixed it. So that means that our Golden Palace shell is also affecting it. So if I select the Golden Palace shell, I can find our Lickalicious and turn it off in the surface selection of the shell. And then boom, we've got the Lickalicious GeoShell corrected. So now I've got 3 GeoShells on Milica. I've got her Golden Palace, her tiers, and then now her Lickalicious tongue. Now let's even add one more just to see how this works. I've got another product called Breastacular, and it is going to do the same thing. What we can do is load this up, and it's going to add more details to our character's, what should we say, her boobs, and we can get more realistic textures and things this way. So if I select Milica and then I upload Breastacular, we're going to get the same thing. So I'm going to load it up and then I'm going to load the mat. So it says that those shaders are copied. And now you can see that we've got a conflict with the GeoShell with this product with the others. So again, what I need to do is I'm first going to go to the Golden Palace shell, select the shell, go to surfaces in the parameters tab, and now I'm just going to look for that Breastacular product, and we're going to turn those off. And you can see it partially fixed it. That means the tiers are conflicting as well. So if I select the tiers in the parameters tab, go to shell, surfaces, and then deselect, turn off those Breastacular, and then boom, now I have 4 GeoShells on Milica, and all of them now have the correct textures. I should mention that if you cannot fix it this way and you're having trouble, you can always check out this video, which will show you how you can correct things like dirt, mud, sweat, that kind of GeoShell put onto your character, where we've got a problem with not the GeoShell recognizing the texture, but the GeoShell not recognizing that GeoShell layer of dirt or sweat. and check out this video to fix that problem. And if you're new, it's going to be very helpful. If you are one of my patrons, well, you know that drill, so thank you. All right, well, Milica is now loaded up with all kinds of additional assets. So I'm just going to render her up for a nice thumbnail. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give me some comments. Do you know some other tricks? I do believe there might be a Shell Fix product out there, I guess, that does this same thing. Maybe it recognizes that there are multiple shells and blends them together. I'm not sure what it does. I've never used a product. I've only done it this way under the parameters tab. But if you know of a product or a different way to do this, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But until next time, slam that like button, give me a few comments, and subscribe if you haven't done it, and happy rendering.